What's up developers, it's Dari here and welcome back to a new video where we're going to see how accurate ChatGPT is to see whether we could host a Laravel application with its help. Quick pause. Are you looking for a new hosting that you want to use? Hostinger currently offers a 50% discount where you could get your cloud hosting plans for as little as €9.99 per month, where you get unlimited bandwidth, 200 GB of SSD storage, a free domain, free SSL and a free daily backup. On top of that, you could even use my discount code of Code with Dari, which you can find in the description down below to get an additional 10% discount on any hosting plan. Let's ask ChatGPT for a couple recommended hosting providers for Laravel applications that are not expensive. Even though I love Hostinger, I don't think that the list right here is in a particular order, because most hosting providers do have their own advantages and disadvantages. But I'm happy that Hostinger is on the list of recommended hosting platforms for Laravel applications. Now I could ask ChatGPT what Hostinger is, but since this video is sponsored by Hostinger, and with all due respect, I think that I can explain it better. So I'll do it without the help of it. Hostinger is a web hosting provider, but simply on steroids. It simply allows you to set up your shared hosting, cloud hosting, WordPress hosting, and even your VPS hosting. But it also allows you to simply purchase email hosting, in case you don't need your hosting for a website. In 99% of the cases, Hostinger adds free SSL certificates, as it's doing right now for its cloud hosting. I can truly say that their 99.99% of uptime with a load speed of 350 milliseconds on average is one of the reasons I love using it. Now Hostinger offers different type of hosting opportunities. So let's ask ChatGPT what is the best type of hosting for Laravel applications. Know that 90% of the content I make is related to either PHP or Laravel. To get the best experience out of your Laravel project, you need to get your hosting that suits your requirement. I'm not the person to say what you need to use. As you could see, there are quite some options right here. And once again, I don't think that ChatGPT added them in a particular order. The easiest option is the first option right here, which is shared hosting. But is it the best option? Well, ChatGPT is saying that shared hosting isn't the best option for large applications that have high traffic, since it has performance issues and slower loading times. If you have simple HTML and CSS websites, I would definitely recommend using shared hosting. For Laravel applications, I personally won't do that. We also have a virtual private server, which allows you to have your own virtual server within a shared physical server. The biggest benefits are that it offers more resources, it has more flexibility compared to shared hosting, and it is scalable, which is a term you hear a lot when dealing with hosting. Scalability allows you to easily and quickly adjust the changes in resource demands. In other words, a scalable hosting server can effectively handle increases or decreases in traffic, data storage, processing power, or other computing resources without significantly impacting the performance or availability of the service. We have dedicated hosting, where you have your own physical server dedicated to your application. If you have an e-commerce website that generates tons of money, I wouldn't go cheap and simply use dedicated hosting. Finally, we have cloud hosting, where your application is hosted on a network of servers. It is also very scalable and flexible. The one thing I really enjoy about ChatGPT is that it's simply telling us that hosting depends on the specific needs, budget, and technical expertise. From my experience, using a dedicated server or a VPS are quite expensive, so we're left with shared hosting and cloud hosting. I said that I'm not a fan of shared hosting, so I won't make a video about that, but I'm definitely a fan of cloud hosting, so let's go with that option. So let's ask ChatGPT how to host a Laravel application using Hostinger, and we're going to use it through Git, because I want to deploy it every time I make changes into my code. ChatGPT responded back with 11 steps that we need to perform in order to host our Laravel application using Hostinger on this cloud hosting. Let's start with step number 1, where we need to create a Hostinger account and log into your Hostinger control panel, and we need to select our package as well. At the moment, I'm on the official website of Hostinger, which is hostinger.com, where in the top right corner, you will see a drop-down named Hosting, where you'll find an option of the selected hosting plans that Hostinger offers. We have the web hosting, website builder, cloud hosting, WordPress hosting, and hosting for professionals. The one that we need is cloud hosting for large-scale projects. Once we scroll down, you will find the packages right here. And at the time of this recording, Hostinger is offering a 60% discount on Cloud Startup, 70% discount on Cloud Professional, On top of that, you will even get 3 months for free. Like I've mentioned before, I can't decide which cloud hosting package you should use because I don't know your project requirements. I also don't want to cover all functionalities and advantages that you will see right here, or features, because that will kind of take forever. But I do want to mention that Hostinger, the cloud hosting package, offers hosting of 300 websites. It offers 250 gigabytes of SSD storage, and SSD storage is a type of storage technology used in cloud computing environments. Unlike traditional hard disk drivers, HDDs, which use spinning disks to read and write data, while SSD uses flash memory to store and access data. The biggest difference, SSD is simply more reliable and is faster. It offers unlimited bandwidth, meaning that Hostinger will not charge you based on the amount of data that your website uses to transfer data. Keep in mind that unlimited bandwidth is not 100% unlimited, because every cloud hosting provider still has a limit in their own term of service. You will receive a free domain, which has a value of $9.99, and Hostinger has an own interface where you could set it up. It has a free SSL certificate, which stands for Secure Sockets Layer, which is used as a protocol to establish a secure and encrypted connection between a client and a server. Finally, it offers a free daily backup of your site, which has a value of $25. I will go for the cheapest option, which is the Cloud Startup, so let's add it to the cart. And right here, you will see that we have the option to choose a cloud package based on the period. You could either pay for a month, which is a lot more expensive because it's $24.99. You can get a cloud hosting for 12 months, which changes the price quite a lot to $9.99. Keep in mind that the price of the domain is included right here. Otherwise, you have to pay an extra $10 for that as well. The same features are added inside the 24 months package with the same price, which will save you $360, and you can choose the 24 month, let me zoom in, which will give you 3 months free hosting. It will save you $720, and you will get a free domain for the first year just like the other two packages. Choose a package right here, and let's move on to the next step. Right here, you will see that we need to create our account. So let me add the email right here that I want to use. For step number 3, we need to choose the payment method. You'll find an overview of the services that you're going to provide right here. We have a free domain name. We have a free daily backup. We have a 24 months plan, which has its own price. I am currently living in the Netherlands. My plan has a 10% discount, and I need to pay taxes, obviously. Now, right under the total, you will see that we can add an option to add a coupon code. So let's do that, because we're going to add the coupon code of Code with Dari. Once we apply it, you'll see that we received $60 discount with my coupon code. Add your payment credentials right here, and I'll see you back once you have created your account on the H panel of Hostinger. After logging in, Hostinger will redirect you to the page that we have right now. If we open ChatGPT right now, you'll see that there isn't a step right here where we could set up our domain, but it's pretty obvious. It's telling us that we could claim our free domain since we have purchased a Cloud Professional package. So let's claim the domain, where we need to add our domain name. So let's say cdw-blog. Well, I want to change the .eu to .com. We need to check for the availability of our domain, and you'll see that it is available. Let's claim it right here, where you could select the profile. I want to use my existing profile, so let's finish the registration, and our domain is being registered. So let's give it a moment, and I'll see you back once that's done. We have been prompted with a message saying that our information is under review, but we could create our website. So let's click on continue, where you will see that we have set up our domain, but I want to navigate back to the H panel because we did purchase cloud hosting. Once you have opened your cloud package, you'll see that Hostinger is asking us if we either want to create a new website or migrate a website. In our case, we're going to create a new website. Don't worry, we don't need to write the code all over again since we will be using Git for it. So let's select the option. Now it's giving us an option to choose a WordPress hosting or hosting our website builder. As a developer, I simply want to choose another platform. Right here, we need to select a platform that we want to use. So let's say Laravel. The administration email is my own email. And let's add a password right here, which we will be using later on as well. So let's continue. All right. We need to choose the domain that we just created. So let's select it. All right. Our website has been set up. So what we need to do is navigate to our control panel. So let's click on Manage Site. Now, before we continue on with hosting our project, I want to check whether our PHP version has been set correctly, mainly because Laravel 10 just got released a week ago, and it doesn't support PHP 8.0 anymore. From Laravel 10 and forward, you are obligated to use a minimum PHP version of 8.1. Inside the sidebar, let's navigate down and let's click on Advanced, where you will have an option where you could check your PHP configuration. So let's click on that. And as you can see right here, my version has been set to PHP 8.1. If you do not have that, otherwise you cannot host your Laravel 10 application. The next few steps are dedicated to Git commands that we need to perform inside our SSH. But before we could do that, we need to first enable SSH on our host. So what we could do is scroll down, and right inside of the Advanced tab, you'll see an option called SSH Access. You'll see that by default, the SSH status has been turned off. And SSH simply allows secure file transfer and remote logins over the internet. So once we enable it, alright, it has been changed to active, meaning that we can access our hosting through SSH inside our own CLI. The one thing that I don't like about ChatGPT's suggestion is the fact that it's telling us that we need to perform all these Git commands. We could do that, but Hostinger offers an even easier method. Right inside of the sidebar, Hostinger has an option called Git. Let's click on it. And right here, we can generate an SSL, add it to the desired GitHub repository, and let the deployment be done automatically, rather than performing all these commands regarding to Git. So initializing the project, adding our files, performing a command, adding our Git remote URL, and pushing it to our Hostinger platform. So the functionality that Hostinger has built in is way easier than ChatGPT's suggestion. So let's start off by generating our SSH key. Let's copy it. So what we need to do right now is to open our GitHub repository that we want to deploy using Git. So let me go to GitHub. Let me search for a project that I have called Components. Keep in mind that whenever you are working with a public repository, there's no need to add the SSH key to the project. I want to quickly show users that have a private repository what they need to do. Another note, you could use my project as well. Once we click on Settings, you will find a Deploy Key option right under Security in the left panel, right here. What Hostinger wants us to do is simply adding a new deploy key of the SSH so we could give Hostinger access to do something with our GitHub repository. So what we want to do is add a new deploy key, where we need to add a title first. This does not have anything to do with Hostinger. This is just simply for your own application in case you have multiple deployment keys. So let's add a title of Hostinger key, and let's paste the key that we just copied inside the text area. There is no need to give Hostinger write access, since deploy keys always have full access, which is all they need. So let's add our key. And right inside of our deploys key overview, you will find the deploy key that we just added. Whenever you want to deploy your project, you need to copy the SSH deployment URL, which you can find by clicking on code. And once again, since my repository is public, you could simply copy my SSH and deploy my project as well. Let's navigate back to our H panel. And once we scroll down, you can see that we can create a new repository. The repository is the SSH that we just copied. The branch from my repository is not master, but it is main. So let's change that. And we're going to keep the directory empty, which will deploy the code inside the public_HTML directory. If we click on create, you'll see that we have been prompted with a message saying that the project directory, well, let me show it again, is not empty. So it probably has a file somewhere in it that we need to delete first. So there are two options. We could either open the files file manager. Let's actually do that first, where we have access to all files of our domain. So let's click on that. We have our public_HTML directory, where you will see that it has a default Laravel project inside of it. Now we could either delete these manually by selecting them all, right-clicking and deleting it. We don't need this anymore, so let's close it off. Then we could navigate back to our Advanced tab, open Git, and perform these steps one more time. We have our GitHub SSH, the branch is main, and the directory is empty. Once we click on create, you'll see that our Git repository has been stored successfully. Now inside the manage repositories, you'll see the repository that we have added, the branch, the install path, so public_HTML, and we have a couple actions that we could perform, which we won't cover right now. We could use the file manager of Hostinger again, but I'm more of a fan of using SSH since we need to perform a couple of artisan commands as well. Now the SSH credentials can be found right inside of the Advanced tab, where you have an option named SSH Access. Now we could set it up ourselves, but right under the Log into SSH section, you will see that they have built up our terminal command. So once we copy it, navigate to any terminal that you have, paste the SSH command that we just copied, hit enter, add our password. And right here, you will see that we have been redirected to our file manager through the CLI. If we perform an ls right here, you will find a list of all directories and files. The one that we need is the public_HTML directory, so let's change directories right into it. If we perform another ls right here, you should be seeing something that's familiar to you, because it is the directory structure of a Laravel application. From here, all steps should be self-explanatory for Laravel developers, since the following steps need to be performed on localhost as well. We obviously haven't pushed our .env file to Git, but we did add our .env.example file, which we could copy by saying cp space .env.example to make a copy of the .env.example file and rename it to .env. Within our .env file, we need to change up a couple environment variables. So let's say nano.env, because you'll see that the database name is equal to a name that we haven't created, the username is root, and the password is still empty. Now these credentials needs to be created in Hostinger's hpanel first. So let's navigate back to Google Chrome, where you will find a database tab in the sidebar, where you can click on management. You will see that we need to create a new MySQL database and username. So let's name it components app. My username is CDW, and I'm going to add a password that's very secret. Let's click on create. So what we need to do right now is copying our MySQL database, navigate back to iTerm, rename our db_database variable, navigate back to Google Chrome, do the same thing for our MySQL user, and then we need to add our very secret password of test1234 exclamation mark. Now, in order to save it, we need to press Ctrl X, Y to save it, hit enter. Alright. Now the next command that we need to perform is the composer update command. But keep in mind that there might be a chance that your hosting is using a lower version of Composer. So what you need to do before you run the composer update command is navigating to Google Chrome, opening a new tab, go to getcomposer.org/download, where you will need to download Composer on your hosting with a newer version by copying the entire script that you see right here. Navigate back to iTerm, paste it in, which will update Composer and it will use a new version. I know that there is another command for it as well, which is I think Composer self-updated too, but that didn't work for me, so this was my solution. It's suggesting us to use the php composer var command, so let's actually do that. Let's say php composer.var space install. Alright, then we need to set up our app_key environment variable, which can be done by performing the php artisan key::generate command. Alright, we have set up our database credentials, so we're ready to migrate our migrations or tables by saying php artisan migrate. I've also added a couple factories inside my project to add some dummy data inside my database, which we can run by saying php artisan db::seed. If we navigate to the browser, open our hpanel, you'll see that we have our website name of cdw-blog. Let's open it inside the browser. Whoops, right here you will see that we have been prompted with a forward tree. And this is happening because Laravel doesn't really understand our project structure. And we can change that through the CLI by creating a new hidden file by saying nano.htaccess. Now you can't really make mistakes inside the htaccess file, so I've just copied the script and I will paste it right here and I will add it as a comment inside the video as well. Now let's save the file again, and I think that we're set. Let's navigate back to the browser, let's refresh it, and as you can see, our Laravel 10 project has been deployed. Now this was it for this video where we deployed a Laravel 10 project on Hostinger with the help of ChatGPT. I got to say that it's pretty accurate with the responses it gives. Obviously, companies like Hostinger do change their interface once in a while. So it's not super accurate when it comes to telling us where we need to click or what steps we need to perform. but it could be absolutely amazing to have as a helper. Also, the deployment via Git was a bit sketchy too, but ChatGPT has data up until 2021, and I think that the feature inside Hostinger has most likely been added afterwards. Now leave a comment down below in the description if you have enjoyed using Hostinger, or let me know what you would like to see different next time. If you do like my content and you want to see more, leave this video a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, please hit that subscribe button.